Hello and welcome to the Wedding Files. I'm Tracy and I'm here to help you navigate through the mysteries of planning your wedding. So now that you've figured out how many people are coming, where do you put them all? Do you want to break down and just do open seating because seating charts are so hard and complicated? It's not that bad. Seating charts really come in handy, especially if you're having a larger wedding, so everyone knows where to go. And giving everyone a place to call home at the beginning of your reception will help everyone feel comfortable. So let's figure out your seating chart so no one is playing musical chairs. So I'll be honest with you here, I hated assigned seating growing up and in weddings when I started out. My thought was, let's just add one more table just in case. It's not a big deal, people can sit wherever they want to. Then I started working in a venue and it started to make sense. For couples that chose not to do seating charts, guests were awkwardly looking for places to sit. It took up way too much time, and strangers left empty seats between them, so I had to ask people at a table to move around to fit in another couple. When a couple decided to do a seating chart, guests took a minute to find themselves on a sign during cocktail hour, and as soon as the reception doors opened, they all went inside to the tables they were assigned to. It was so fast, not awkward at all, and I didn't have to tell anyone to move over. We were able to get everyone in and seated quickly so we can move on to the introductions. Over the time that I've been working weddings and learning new things, I've come around to the side of seating charts. It's a very efficient way of giving your guests direction. You may know where everything is, but your guests have no idea what's going on. Like a game of musical chairs, everyone is looking for their chair. Seating charts give them one, and steps to putting it together is pretty easy. First, design your room. If you're working with a wedding planner or a venue that has a coordinator or manager, they will probably help you create your setup. They may give you a hand-drawn diagram or something in Word with shapes like what I use. Make sure that you are happy with the layout before you go any further. If you don't like their ideas, then talk to them about it, but trust that they know their venue and what works best for the flow there. A 6-foot rectangular table can seat up to 8 if you are squished in, but it takes up the same footprint as a 60-inch round that can seat up to 10. So most venues will go with the round as it can seat more. Rectangular head tables sometimes don't work in the space, so have an open mind and trust their guidance. If you aren't working with anyone and it's up to you to set up the tables and chairs, then I suggest using floorplanner.com. It's a great free website that I use all the time. Then design your layout in that website. You'll start with a basic idea of the dimensions of the room. Then you need to know what size tables you will be using for guest seating, the cake, gifts, favors, and anything else you need. Then the standard size for guest seating at a round is 60 inches. Cake tables and sweetheart tables tend to be smaller, like 48 inches, and rectangular tables are usually 6 feet long. Don't forget that you will need space for a dance floor and for the DJ or band. So start adding the tables in the diagram and remember to keep tables 5 feet from other tables and the wall. That will give everyone plenty of space to move their chairs in and out and room to walk in between seated guests. And remember that you never want to block any doors, especially exit doors. And lastly, leave space around the entrance that you will be doing your introduction from. You'll need a little room to move and you don't want anyone photobombing your entrance. Now that the layout of the room is set, we need to number the tables. Simply table 1, table 2, that sort of thing. If the venue already has an order that they number the tables, then go with the order they use. Head table is another name for table number whatever, so don't think about that now. If you are numbering the tables yourself, You want to make it easy for your guests standing at the entrance to look out in the room and easily find their table number, so be logical. The easiest thing to do is start at the main entrance door, with the closest table being table 1, the next one being table 2, and so on. And lastly, find out how many people are sitting at each table. Again, a 60-inch round can hold up to 10 people, but it's recommended to seat 8 as it's a little more comfortable. One of the worst things for me is finding out as guests are coming into the reception room that the bride has 11 people sitting at a table and didn't let me know about it ahead of time. It's awkward for the guests, and we have to figure out how to get all those people around a table. So make sure that you and the venue are on the same page and be realistic about how many people you are trying to fit at a table. Second, creating the visual. In my experience, most of us need to see what it's going to look like when deciding who is sitting next to whom. I'm using a large cork board because I can reuse it later for my sign, but you can use a poster board or even a wall. Cut out circles or rectangles to represent your guest tables. Number them, then arrange them to look like your diagram. Kind of like this. Then grab some Post-it flags like this. Post-its can be moved around a lot and not damage anything, so they really come in handy here. Then go down your guest list and write everyone's name on the flags using the name you used when inviting them. If you invited your brother Bobby by using his proper name Robert, then continue to use the name Robert on your seating chart because that's the name he will be looking for. The flags help you know how many people are sitting at a table, so only use one name per flag. I know, it's a lot of flags, but it will help you. And children take up the same amount of space as adults unless they are sitting in someone's lap. So use their names, or at least child 1, child 2 should be on their own flag. Now, if you're super anal like me and need to color code everything, then choose a color for each group. Back in a previous episode, case 002, the talk part 1, I suggested that when you put your guest list together, to also write in a group that they belong to, such as immediate family, church group, softball group, work group, and so on. Remember, people feel more comfortable sitting next to people they know. So sitting people in the same group at one table will help everyone feel comfortable, and they'll be able to have something to talk about together. So, for example, my top 3 groups, I have my immediate family in orange, my fiance's family in green, and our close friends in pink. The next thing to do is decide which table you and your spouse will be seated at. Are you doing a sweetheart table? Are you sitting at a round table in the middle of the room, or a rectangular table at one end of the room? My example here is from a venue that I worked at. In this example, the couple chose to sit at a sweetheart table that's going to be on the dance floor when dinner is being served. After dinner, the couple will get up and start mingling, and we'll move the table. As a side note, if you are doing something similar, don't plan on too many decorations on your sweetheart table. A vase to hold your bouquet is plenty. If the table gets moved, you don't want anything to fall off and get broken or move somewhere you can't find it later. Now we have to decide who is sitting where. Typically, your immediate family will sit closest to you. The wedding party can sit closest to you as well, or they can sit with people they know. It just depends on what works best for you. And you need to decide how far into the assigned seating rabbit hole you want to go. Some couples choose to tell people to sit at a particular chair at a certain table, and other couples choose to just tell people to sit anywhere at that designated table. Personally, it's easier to direct people to a designated table instead of a particular chair because it never fails that people will move their seats. It also gives people a sense of freedom. They can still choose what chair and view of the reception they want, but they're still sitting at a designated table. Also, as an added benefit, you can cut the cost of escort cards and just go with a sign at the entrance. Third, preliminary placement. Think of yourself and your fiancé as the center of a spider web, and then each ring is a place of honor. The first ring being your immediate family, your parents, siblings, maybe grandparents. The next ring is extended family, your cousins, aunts, and uncles. The third ring is your closest friends, fourth ring your church group, and so on in whatever order works for you. The people closest to you in your personal life should be the closest to you at your reception. Now, wherever you are seated, the closest table is where that first ring of people sit, and then go outwards from there. In my example, with me and my fiance sitting at the sweetheart table, I'm going to put all our parents at table 3. Then my siblings and their families at tables 2, his siblings and their families at table 4, our close friends, who I know can be a little rowdy when hitting the bar all night long, at 7, 6, and 1, since it's closest to the bar. Then his work friends at table 11, because they're conservative and probably won't stay all night. And our friends in the wedding party and their families at tables 9 and 8. Then that leaves tables 10, 5, and 12 for other groups. So some side notes. People that you know will leave early, put them next to the door or band or DJ. That way no one is complaining about the draft from the doors or that the band or DJ speakers are blaring at them during the party portion of the reception, because they won't be there. Then remember that on the music, kids and seniors have a hard time with how loud something is. So you want to put them as far away from the speakers as you can. So check in with the DJ, band, or venue to find out where they are. So how's it looking? How's everyone fitting? For me, I'm totally going to have to move some people around. I have 3 empty seats at the table our parents and grandparents are sitting at. I have a total of 11 people sitting at my siblings' table and only 5 sitting at his siblings' table. I also have a few people off to the side because I'm trying to figure out where they would go. They belong to a couple different groups, so it makes it easy to put them at whichever table I need them. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to combine all our siblings and their families to tables 1 and 2. There's a bunch of children, so what will probably happen later in the night is all the kids will be coloring and playing at one table, and their parents, our siblings, will be at the other. And it helps that the tables are on the opposite side of the DJ and his speaker, so the kids won't be grumpy because it's too loud. For our parents' table, table number 3, I'm going to put my dad's best friend, who I consider my uncle, next to my dad, because he'd be more comfortable at that table instead of an extended family table. And I'm going to move my cousin and her daughter to the parents' table, since she's my maid of honor anyway, and her daughter can play with the other kids and siblings at tables 2 and 1. So now, instead of tables 7, 6, and 1 for my close friends, I'm going to use tables 8, 7, and 6. I'll move the rest of my wedding party and their family to 9 and 10, and that leaves 5, 4, and 12 for the other groups. Now, if you start on this early in your wedding planning process, not only will you be able to see how many guests you are inviting, but as you get the RSVPs, you can move things around or take out a table. In this example, I started with 10 people at 12 tables for 120 guests. As I get my RSVPs, I'm seeing that I already have 10 people that can't make it, so I can get rid of one table along with the costs associated with it. Less decorations, table linen rental, glasses, and so on. So when I turn in my final count 2 weeks from the deadline, I'm also way ahead of where everyone is going to sit, and I can decide on what kind of sign to use and tell everyone at the reception. 4th, directions. Like I said before, your guests are going to need some direction on where to go. I've seen all kinds of awesome and creative ways to relay the message. But whatever your vision is, keep in mind what could happen. If it's sitting on a table, the table will get bumped, so you have to have a sturdy table and a large enough table to hold everything. If it's a sign in the garden, there will be a breeze, so make sure it's not going anywhere. If it's chalk, it will get wet, so maybe protect the sign with a piece of glass or smooth saran wrap. And always have a couple copies of a printed list with names and table numbers that you can give the coordinator or an attendant, and one to keep with the rest of your copies. The goal is to make something where your guests can easily find their names and get in quickly. There have been times where people are looking for their name on an escort card that is randomly placed on a table. It causes a huge traffic jam. So create a pattern. We naturally look for patterns in everything. So if there is one, like alphabetical order, it makes it really easy for anyone to find their names. Most people find their first name faster than their last name, so alphabetize by first names. Also, it's faster to find your name in a list of all the names than trying to find your name under a list of everyone sitting at table 1, then going to table 2, and so on until you find your name. Remember, for names, use the first name that was used in the invitation, Robert, not Bobby, and either the first initial of the last name, or better yet, the whole last name. My example is a list of names with their table numbers. I reused the cork board, printed out the names on cardstock, and kept it simple. Since it'll help with the traffic, I'm going to put it in the cocktail hour so my guests can look at it while they're mingling. Then, right before it's time for everyone to go in, it'll be moved to the entryway where anyone that missed it or forgot can look at it on the way in. But if it rains, then it'll be inside on the dance floor so everyone can mingle around the bar and find their names. Don't put it right inside the door because that will cause a line with the door open and the AC getting out or rain getting in. Get everyone in and then let them look for their name. Again, if you're using favors like personalized mason jars with numbered tags to indicate the table number, then line up the names in order. People will pick up on the pattern and find their names quickly. And if you can, have someone at the table or the sign that can greet your guests and help them find their names. A seating chart is one of those things that always gets put off to the last minute. It seems more daunting than it really is. Don't make this difficult. Kiss it. Keep it simple, sister. Start planning this early so you can keep up with it during the months leading up to your big day, not the days leading up to your big day. Remember, people will move around the table, so place cards are merely a suggestion. If you have personalized favors or personalized placeholders, just put them in a circle around the centerpiece, and as the guests get to their table, they'll find their favors. And don't go crazy on a sign that is used for about 15 minutes and never thought of again. A seating chart helps with your guest count. It makes your guests feel comfortable and gives everyone direction, so no one is playing musical chairs. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please leave it below and I'll get to all of them. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and feel free to share and give me a thumbs up. I'll have a lot more videos coming up, like the do's and don'ts of rentals, so don't miss out. See you soon, and remember, I've got your back.